Hello YouTube. So there are two things about Jinhsi's kit we haven't talked about. They are very important, so let's jump into it. So the first is the Forte circuit part that describes how the Forte gauge goes up. There are two ways. If you deal damage of any element, you get 1 point. So 1 stack out of 50. If you deal another type of damage, you go on another cooldown, because you can increase 1 point every 3 seconds, but if the elements are different, each element has a different cooldown, alright? So dealing different type of damage, different elements of damage come in handy, but it's not crucial. The very important thing here is that when you deal coordinated attacks, you gain 2 stacks, which is double the amount. But how do you deal coordinated attacks? What are coordinated attacks? Well, I thought it was intro and outro skill, but that's incorrect. Coordinated attacks are a specific type of attack. So if you go on a team and you click on the character you slotted, you can see they have tags now. From patch 1.1, it's a new thing. And you can see that, for instance, Mortefi has coordinated attack as a tag. It means he deals coordinated attack. You can check this in the filter function too, if you want to check all the characters. So you go on the bottom right of the character page, any character will do. Then you click on the little filter here, it's a round button. And then you go on coordinated attack and click confirm. Here are the 5 characters that deal coordinated attack. Mortefi, for instance, deals that kind of damage using his Resonance Liberation, his ultimate. Yuanwu can use just his E skill, and that's done. Yinlin needs to charge the Forte gauge and then release to mark the enemies, and then she can do the same. Keep in mind that having Yuanwu and Yinlin in the same team goes on the same cooldown, because even coordinated attacks of the same element go on the same cooldown, while Mortefi has a different cooldown, which is fusion damage. Verena can deal coordinated attacks when you use your R. So basically the Resonance Liberation. I wouldn't use Baiji, but if you don't have any other healer, that's an option, of course. Verena instead is also a buffer, so it's a very, very good element. This doesn't change. We already talked about Verena inside Jinhsi's team, but you really need a sub-DPS that does the same, because having another source of coordinated attacks is very important. Verena has the coordinated attacks only on her Resonance Liberation, so it's usually not enough. If you have Yinlin, I would go for Yinlin. If you don't, you go for Yanhu. That's fine. He's like, you know, it's very easy to get. And if you don't have, actually, if you want to go for fusion because you like Mortefi, there are some caveats. So let's talk about it. Mortefi, if you have the sequences, you have 2 benefits. One is actually going faster in charging the Resonance Liberation, but you also have, during Resonance Liberation, you have coordinated attacks when the characters use Resonance skills. But not only that, you also have on sequence 4, Burning Rhapsody, which is the Resonance Liberation that creates coordinated attacks increased by 7 seconds. So you have a longer ultimate to use coordinated attacks. So a longer ultimate, another source, and more regeneration, which is great. Actually, more energy. So yeah, that's very important. You definitely want to keep in mind this. Keep in mind that the 6th sequence has a support option on attack that always comes in handy. So he's very good coordinated attacks sub-DPS, even if his kit is not perfect, because his outer skill increases heavy attack damage and you don't use it. When it comes to Yinlin, she has very good autonomous damage, of course, because 5-star. Plus, you can use her outro for the Resonance Liberation part. It's a 25% buff. You usually can use that on the Jinhsi's ultimate, Resonance Liberation. And that's very useful. I mean, it's 25% more ultimate damage, which comes in handy very nicely. So, that's what I wanted to highlight the most. Always have a sub-DPS. So here we can see Mortify, you want to use the Resonance Liberation, and with him, just the Resonance skill is enough. You place this pillar and you fight inside the area, and you get coordinated attacks. Alright, so that's it for sub-DPS. Now let's talk about healers. So which is now the best healer? You can use Verena because of the coordinated attacks and the buff. But there's another option in Tauchi, because Tauchi has an incredible outer skill. She increases a skill damage by 38%, if I recall correctly. So let's take a look at Tauchi. If you go on outer skill, you can see it's 38% for 14 seconds or until switched out. So what do? You use Tauchi, you charge her Concerto, so the little ball down in the left part of the gauges. When it's full, you can see the icons glowing. You switch to Jinhsi, and if you have full gauge, you can release your skill. It's possibly better when you have full gauge, and you deal much more damage. 38% pure damage increase is great. What's the problem with Tauchi? So Tauchi needs a lot of energy to refill her Concerto, which is again indicated by the round corners of this Havoc symbol here. This information comes from Meiji, so special thanks to her, because I have been thinking about this a lot. Why doesn't Pride suggest using Tauchi now that she has such good outer skill? That's the reason. You can do like huge numbers with her, but at the same time, if you sum up all the damage, Verena will probably come up to be like the best buffer because she feels faster. There's another thing that is very important to talk about. Verena, of course, can heal, and having a heal in your party can be better than shields. So keep that in mind too. Also, Verena is a 5-star, so she has better sequences, while Tauchi has very selfish sequences. So that's for the healers. Now let's go to the teams and see the options you have. I will place Jinhsi here for ease of use, and then we talk about sub-DPS. So start from Yinlin. If you don't have her, go Mortify if you have the sequences. If you don't have the sequences, go Yuanhu. I think it's your best bet. If you don't have any of those, well, that's kind of a problem because you need one of those to fill the gauge. So let's say you have Mortify.
Tracking out of my lab for this.
Then you have your healers. You can place. You definitely should place Verena if you chose Verena or dropped her. You can definitely use Tauchi because she doesn't heal, but she shields you. So she increased survivability a little bit. So first team. This is a team. This is definitely a team. If you use Jinhsi, this is probably the best in slot team. But you can do, of course, these two. He doesn't deal much damage, even when you have him like capped, but it's fine. Can be useful. These are all your options. Of course, you can use May Rover too, but you lose on the sub-DPS coordinated attacks bonus on the gauge, so it's very suboptimal. Now we know we can use him, but yeah, that's sad. It's not for content that like end game content. You can definitely use him in the adventure, but end game is not suggested to choose. So this is everything we had to know about the Jinhsi's kit in depth. I think I will be using this team. I'm happy I can use my Yinlin finally, because she really comes in handy. Keep in mind, of course, of the very good damage she deals. Also, Jinhsi is a different element of... sorry, Yinlin is a different element from Jinhsi, which means she can have different cooldown on stacks, which comes in handy. Oh, there's another option, of course. That's probably not for content, but you can actually do it. You can slot out Verena, slot in Mortefi. You have better gauge replenishing, and the 20% attack from Mortefi, sequence 6. So you can do that if you prefer focusing on the gauge. It's probably a little bit suboptimal, but they deal very good sub-DPS damage. It's an option. It's fun in exploration because you have a lot of damage coming from all three instead of only from Jinhsi, and you see a lot of colors. You have fire, thunders, and light. It's very colorful. But yeah, it's not a team I would suggest to use. And neither I would use the other version of the team that goes Tauchi and Verena, because you don't have a good Forte gauge replenishment. Verena can only replenish your gauge with her R that is up for a bit and goes down, so you need a lot of energy regeneration. But besides, it's the only source, it's a little bit slow, plus it's the same element, so has the same cooldown as Jinhsi. I don't know, it really, I'm not sure it helps much. And Tauchi can definitely help you with the outer skill, but they kind of have the same role, plus she doesn't, they both don't deal good sub-DPS damage, self-damage basically. So yeah, don't. It's of course an option, especially if you die a lot in some content, it's an option, but yeah, choose a sub-DPS. Even Yuanho is fine, you don't even need many levels, you just need the effect of the coordinated attacks.
Underway.
So yeah, go for what you have, you will be fine, there are a lot of options.
So we're teaming up. Fine.
So, this is everything we need to know about Jinhsi Part 2. I hope you enjoyed, I tried to cover things in the most clear way possible, and I wanted to talk a little bit more about it and take it a little bit more slow. I will be publishing all the best teams options on my Discord community with a little like infographics, and yeah, that's it. Have fun with the character. I think it's one of the most fun characters in the game. Kinda has 2 ultimate abilities. I love it. That you can switch modes, go 4 attacks, and you have this secondary ultimate ability that can chain into the actual ultimate ability, double summon dragons. It's also very aesthetic. I love it. And she's going to do extremely fine, especially with her weapon, but you can go with the standard banner weapon, the 5-star, and you will be good anyways. So yeah, have fun with the character if you pulled. I wish you best of luck if you're still pulling for Jinhsi, because she's my favorite character so far. And yeah, have a nice day. This is Neuralas signing out.